Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Public and Protective Services Committee meeting for May 9th, 2023. Something that we are doing new now is we're going to have a land acknowledgement at the start of all committee days, so I get the privilege of doing that today. So I want to start by saying that the city respectfully acknowledges the Beaver, Cree, Dene, and Métis people as the original caretakers of these lands and surrounding areas. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island and acknowledge these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. Since this is the Public and Protective Services Committee, I also thought it'd be appropriate to take a minute just to say thank you so much to our people who are responding to the fire right now. I know that we've got city, county staff, we've also got Calgary staff, and I know there's people from the province and other communities showing up to help too. We've got not just our firefighters, we've got RCMP and bylaw enforcement making sure people are getting in and out safe, and we've got staff from innumerable departments that are working in the Emergency Operations Center, working with the evacuees to make sure they have everything they need. My understanding is we had staff who pulled up to 48-hour straight shifts to help get this organized when the situation first evolved. So I just want to take time on behalf of the committee to say thank you so much to all of our staff who are taking care of people in our region who need that help. And I also know that our city manager, Nicolay, had some comments he wanted to share too, so I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you very much, Chair Bressie, and I'll be brief, and I really appreciate your taking a moment to acknowledge the folks that are responding. Watch for my CAO message that'll be coming out later on today, and I'll be essentially corroborating the things that you just said. I did have an opportunity last night to attend the event out at the Ivaskovich Hall that saw several hundred county residents who have been evacuated able to interact with key members of the response team from all factions, a couple of brief presentations, and then a really solid and spirited Q&A with some people that are quite affected by what's going on. And I was quite moved by that. I also attended the Incident Command Post this morning and watched the 8 a.m. briefing along with a couple of other senior folks from the city. And what struck me more than anything else was just how quickly and seamlessly and in such a dedicated and professional way municipal staff, the people that constitute local government in this community, respond to what's needed. There's a core level of services that we deliver into this community day in and day out. The buses run like clockwork. The rec centers and fields are available for our people. Inspection services are done seamlessly, and that's largely invisible to the community. It just gets done, and they rely on their local government to do it. All of those things are still being done, and countless people from the city are giving of their time to sit in extended hours, many of them taking the night shift and working all night to make sure that our response complements that of the county and others in our GPREP model, and make sure that this community is well served by emergency and disaster services. I just couldn't be more proud of the employees in the organization. Some of them very visible on the front lines, firefighters and people that we would expect to be involved. Many of them people who have just surrendered their normal daily duties in order to show up and do whatever is required of them. So my thank you for this opportunity. Just wanted to make sure that they were properly acknowledged, and when it's all over and the dust settles, hopefully we'll get a chance to celebrate them as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate our staff, and I know from my work across the province that GPREP is seen as a really forward-thinking model that other regions are working hard to emulate. So we're really lucky to have the regional partners we have and to have the incredible staff we have. So thank you to all of them. With that note, let's dive into our regular agenda. We do have 2 funding reports, and I will just share with both our delegations today that there is a lot going on, so I'm going to be really strict with our 5 minutes or less presentation today. But that's not because we don't appreciate you both being here, and we don't wish we could give you all the time in the world. But anyways, we got Center Creative Arts first. So Candice, you're well known to all of council, but if you'll just introduce yourself in case others are watching.
Sure. So my name is Candice Hook, and I'm the Executive Director for the Center for Creative Arts. Is that better?
You're good, yep.
And Dylan knows I can go on and on, so I will keep this really brief for you guys today. But today's a funding report. We have submitted for future years funding, and so we can get into those discussions afterwards. But today I just really wanted to celebrate the center with you guys. After COVID, we were a little bit unsure how things would happen, and when we turned the taps back on, it was just full blast. People are so excited to be participating in programming again this year. So we went back to our programming for all ages, all skill levels. A lot of people, you stop drawing or painting around grade 4 usually. So that's kind of where we step back in for the adults that want to take over programming. And we've got pottery, sculpture, sewing, photography, drawing, a little bit of everything at the center. And this year we've gone back into birthday parties and spring break camps and summer camps and all of those really important child's programs. And all of them have been filling up to the max. Everything's going really well. I think you'll see in more detail when you see our application for next year that it's been a tricky year financially, but as far as community engagement goes, we're back to having our monthly openings. Everything is being really well received, so that's super positive. We also do our Healing Arts program, which I feel like most of you are familiar with, but we work with partner organizations throughout the community, and it's really about encouraging positive art experiences and taking down any of those barriers that would normally keep someone from participating in arts and crafts programming. And last year we had 900 individual students in that program with over 4,000 visits to the center, and the vast majority of them are residents of the city of Grande Prairie. So we love it. We're going to keep that going for you. Like I said, our gallery, during COVID, we kept it going, but some of it was digital. We still had monthly openings, but the thing that makes our gallery a little bit different or unique in Grande Prairie is that we exclusively feature local or regional artists. You have to be a Peace Region resident to be shown in our gallery, and we're inclusive. So it's not so much about it's about celebrating every artist, having a chance for them to have their neighbors come out and see their work and their kids and their families. It's a real community building event. So the first Friday of every month, we would always love to see any of you. And we had an opening on Friday, over 50 people, which doesn't sound like a lot, but our gallery space isn't huge, so that kind of packs it. But we're doing that monthly again. And then I think a really important thing to remember about the center is that we do offer our own programming, and we filter that programming throughout the community. So we partner with the museum and with the city. We try and get involved with local initiatives. Alberta Culture Days is a big one for us. It gets thousands of residents out every year. But also we house a lot of local arts and crafts guilds. So the Grande Prairie Guild of Artists, the Grande Prairie Photography Club, the Grande Prairie, we have a huge pottery community here. Finishing Touches Grad Society just had all their prom dresses in our sewing studio. I did not try them on. Yeah, no, we tried on all the dresses. But all these community initiatives that might be a little more difficult or might be a little more expensive if they were done separately are all housed under our roof. And so we try to be good stewards of the community, and we try and keep our doors open to any of those groups that need our assistance or need our space. And it is a city-owned facility. It was recently designated as a historical site, and we're really proud of that. I love that building. So we want to be good stewards, and we're looking forward to working with you guys to take good care of that beautiful building.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the presentation. Also, thank you for the work you and your staff and your volunteers do. I think I saw Councillor Bergwith stand up. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bressie. And thank you, Candace. One of the things I just want to compliment you on is the Center for Creative Arts is a wonderful incubator for developing and emerging artists. So thank you for doing that. So my question, in your report, You said you have increased facility expenses. On average, what's your typical monthly expense increase?
So facility related only. I would say we've actually seen about 10% in the last year. Insurance went up substantially. Our utilities went up a lot. Our operational expenses went up substantially too, but our operational expenses are kind of outside of the conversation with you guys. Like at this point, about 90% of the grant funding that we're very grateful for our grant funding, but about 90% in the next year, we are predicting that that's going into base facility expenses. And you guys know, you see your insurance bills, your utility bills. So yeah, I would say about a 10% increase at least last year, but it's been increases year after year, and it's been multiple years since we've had an increase to our grant funding. So it's getting pretty tricky.
So in real dollars, what would that be? $200, $300, $400?
Well, I would say that about $120,000 a year, so goes into our facility, so about $1,000 a month. So
Okay.
$100, $200, depending on the cost. Yeah.
Okay, and have you reviewed any of your fees that you charge for a variety of different programs based on 2019 to today?
Yeah, so it's complicated with us because while all of these expenses have been going up, we've also had to change to our lease agreement. So things like snow removal that used to be included in our lease agreement with the city, we've taken over that. So I'm a little bit like, I can send you more details, but it's ballooned for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks so much, Chair Bressie. Thank you for coming today. It's always great to hear some of the great work you're doing. I just wanted to mention, if you're not aware, with all the incredible events you're putting on, the city has a new events calendar page, and it's a great way for us to collect events that are happening throughout our city so that people have one central place to go to. So if you're not aware of it, he'll probably not appreciate this, but reach out to Rory Tarrant and he'll tell you how to facilitate it. But it's really super easy. You go on our webpage, you upload your information. I think there's room for pictures, but it's a great way to share some of the awesome things you're doing in our community.
Absolutely. I am aware, and I will definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
But I think it's just go back to Grad's question really quickly. There's more details in the application we're putting forward, but it's been a little bit transitional at the center the last couple of years, and like in our lease what we pay for. And you did ask about like how we looked around into different sources, and just to answer that one, we don't actually have the option. A lot of this is billed to the city, and then the city sends us a bill. Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Thank you for the information, and thank you again for the work that you and your people do. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
And now we have the Youth Emergency Shelter.
All right. Good morning. I'm Tanya Wald, Executive Director for Sunrise House. I will keep this really brief. I know that you have a lot happening. And I'm going to try to focus on more of our positives right now because I think we all need that today. So last year, so our funding that we receive through this particular grant goes specifically to our operating. So that largely goes to wages for our frontline workers, so our youth support workers. Of course, they are key to our everyday. They're the ones that are at the door 24/7 to respond to our young people who are coming in for lots of different reasons and issues and different things coming up for them. Last year, we had 127 youth access our shelter beds, and that is just the ones who intaked into a bed. So we also had various other youth that access just for other services, so through like our family support or through our integrated youth hub. Of those, we saw really great successes, high reports of safety, of feeling supported. And that's really that's always our focus. When these young people come in, they're in high crisis. So our focus is, food, safety, sleep, like that's that initial what we're really targeting with them. We supported 75 families through our Family Natural Sports program. So that, of course, is really central to all of our work. We really do believe that to end and make a real impact on child and youth homelessness and poverty is really to focus on that family unit. So we put a lot of focus on that. We've worked federally with various, with some research projects and have seen really high success rates through that program. Some other success from last year that I just wanted to highlight. I mean, of course, our construction, which I know you're all very familiar with because I've been on you guys all the time, is also, so we've been working with the province over the last couple of years with the other shelters, trying to push for better response to shelters. So, you know, in Alberta, we have 11 youth shelters, and the provincial budget last year, and it has increased a little bit, but last year it was 3.3 million was all that was put to shelters. So that's why we're always here. And so we were able to develop a new shelter framework alongside the other shelters and with the Ministry of Children's Services to really amplify and recognize the level of work that youth shelters are doing. And so that is pushed forward. So we have seen some increases in our provincial funding this year, which is really huge for us. We also received 4-year accreditation, which is the first time we received the maximum number of years. So we're really proud of that. And I think it just really speaks to just our intentionality and best practice and how we're working. Some of sort of key trends that we saw, we continue, of course, to see increase in terms of mental health and substance use. That's no secret. What we're seeing now, too, is we're working a lot more with young people whose parents are struggling with addiction or with homelessness. So we're really wrapped up in that cycle. So again, just finding ways to work with them and work them out of those long-term cycles. And we also worked with 25 young people who were either already involved or very high risk of exploitation. So we did see an increase there as well last year. But yeah, so right now we're really focused on just some redevelopment. We're expanding, of course, a lot of our programs by fall that once we get moved. So we've been really looking at how we've worked, what's worked well, and how we're going to shift some things so that we can respond even better. So we're always looking at how do we do this better? How do we increase these numbers even more? Yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. I have Mayor Clayton, then Councillor Berg.
Thanks, Chair Bressy. I don't mean to change the topic on you, but I'm going to. I'm really excited to hear how your capital campaign's going. I understand that it's less than $1 million less to your goal. So we're speaking hundreds of thousands and not millions anymore. Can you give us a really brief update on that?
Sure. So we're right around that million or just under that $1 million mark of fundraising left to do. Our construction is sort of hit that over 50%. They're drywalling next week. So yeah, it's very exciting. I'm in there all the time. I can like literally walk you through in my head. My builder jokes on this, I'm their stalker, but in a good way. Yeah, so it's very exciting. We do have some really cool spring campaign coming up that we'll be launching right away that you'll see and hear lots about. We'll be doing a lock campaign, and it's about locking out child and youth homelessness, locking out exploitation. So I'm really excited about that. So that'll be kicking off. So we're hoping to finish off the last of that fundraising dollars. But yeah, we've seen really, really incredible response from community and of course from our municipalities and government.
Well, if I can just, I think that you've done some exceptional work. And just, if I can, shout out to the community. Let's get this over the finish line because it's an incredible project. And I know that we're super close, and I have complete faith in our community that they'll help you get there. So thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bressy. And again, thanks as always, Tanya. Do you have an ETA when your new facility will be built? And remind us again how many beds that will expand to.
Sure. So our target right now is move in November. So pending no delays, but So far, we've been good. We've had no construction delays so far, so that's been really great. So yeah, we're looking roughly November. So currently we have 12 beds in the shelter, so that will jump up to 24. We'll also be adding on 11 bachelor suites. So those bachelor suites will be under a youth housing framework. So very much supported through our family natural supports as well as a youth housing team. And then also there's a large space for programming and drop-in, which, as you all know, we do not have any of that right now. So we'll be able to have clinicians come in or different agencies coming in. So again, we want to make sure that those partnerships stay really strong to have for those programming pieces. The other two spaces that I'm really excited that we'll have a cultural room. We'll also have a quiet meditation room that's been sponsored by one of our families who unfortunately we lost their daughter to suicide. So we've got some really special pieces going into this building that we're really excited about.
Wonderful, thank you. And one of my favorite events every year is Big Hearts. Is there any discussions at this point for another one?
There's plenty of discussion.
Wonderful, I love to hear it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. Thanks for coming, Tanya. My question to you is, I see the dollar divvying of funds to your organization. Is there an increase that you see in trends in regards to people coming from outside of the city? Like, what are your numbers in comparison to County of Grande Prairie residents, Greenview, or outside of this region?
Yeah, we saw an increase last year in county resident access. Greenview, we've got a few families in Grovedale area that we are often working with. I didn't bring the exact number with me, but yeah, we certainly see those increases. I do believe that with the new facility, we'll see that increase further, just because of in terms of that programming piece and being able to support more in terms of even education and being able to keep those kinds of things going. I think we may see even more of an increase of youth coming from further outside of our direct immediate municipalities as well.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great. I'm not seeing anybody else, so thank you for the presentation. And same I said to the last one, thank you so much for the work you and your people do. It's such an important programming that you folks take on, so thank you. All right, with that, we will move on to our service area update, and we've got Deputy CAO Miller filling in today.
All right, thanks, Chair Bressie. Yes, I'm filling in for Chief Lemieux since he's been busy working night shifts in the Incident Command Center. So I'll just hit some of the highlights that he has on his update. Starting with community and social development, some staff will be attending the the North Regional Gathering for Healthy Aging Albertans, and the event will bring together community-based senior serving organizations in the region for an opportunity to collaborate, connect, and learn more about the province's new Healthy Aging Framework. That's coming up on May 11th. And then we also have Seniors Week coming up. That's the first week of June. It's the 5th until the 11th. So the Community Social Development Department is partnering with Eastlink Centre and Crosslink County Sportsplex to offer up to 6 free recreational classes for those folks. And the main kickoff is organized by the Seniors Outreach, and it is set for Monday, June 5th. And it will include an information fair as well as a barbecue. And then switching to housing and homelessness, just an update, the Coordinated Care Campus request for proposals has been extended until May 15th. And that's for the new service provider that we're seeking. And then with enforcement services, they recently conducted the spring vehicle for hire inspection cycle, and that was between April 17th and the 21st. There was a total of 120 vehicles that were booked for inspection that week. And just a quick update on the statistics, 97 vehicles passed the inspection, 17 vehicles failed, 4 vehicles were put out of service, and 2 vehicles failed to show up for their appointments. But overall, a really good turnout for that process. And then just switching to, just a little bit more on enforcement services. They also did a campaign with focusing on reckless drivers in the community. And disturbingly enough, there was some vehicles that were close to double the speed limit in the different zones in the city. So we But with their increased attention, we're hoping to bring that down. But it's an ongoing issue, obviously. And I think with the spring and now the streets are nice and clean, then we'll see probably more of that. But they will be out there trying to do their best. And they were also involved with some community engagement. They participated in a safety bike presentation at Safety City, and then also another presentation with focused on reducing injury and increasing student knowledge. And that has to do with drinking and driving and focusing on high schools, and EMS, fire, RCMP, and city enforcement are all involved in those presentations. And then we've, as far as GPREP, we've heard lots about all the good work, so I won't expand on that, but they're doing a tremendous job for the county and the city as well. With the fire department, just another reminder that with the above seasonal temperatures and all the dry conditions that we're facing, just a reminder to be especially cautious out there in all the activities, and no outdoor fires are permitted right now. So just with our state of emergency in the county, that we just really need the folks to pay attention to that. Just a quick update on the dispatchers. They've been extremely busy with the dry conditions, and they do dispatch over 60 fire departments covering 43% of the province. So just huge kudos to that segment of our staff, the fire department, plus all the firefighters and all the dispatchers. Focusing on the RCMP, on just a couple highlights. On April 12th, they conducted an investigation where a vehicle was fraudulently purchased through use of a fraudulent identity. So good news on that. They were made aware of it. They took the appropriate action. They arrested a local, I'm not sure if he's a local, but a single male suspect. Charges were laid, and it's going through the court process. So some good work there. And just our municipal leaders from the RCMP Enforcement Services and the Mobile Outreach Program attended a 2-day workshop on change management facilitated by Chris Robbins. And that was it's in regards to the police transition process we're going through right now, just to help our staff understand the changes and to better cope with them. One of the members of our police transition team as well attended the course and said it was extremely valuable, and we'll expand on that. We'll try to get as many staff involved in that as we can, so they understand what we're going through, and we understand their feelings as well, or the emotions they're going through. With the Mobile Outreach Program, the Peace Regional Mental Health Task Force has been actively pursuing the possibility of setting up a local mobile outreach program similar to what we're doing. So the task force is represented by councils from the town of Peace River, town of Grimshaw, Northern Sunrise County, the MD of Peace, and other surrounding municipalities. So that's good news, because they're looking at our model. They'll downsize it to fit their needs, but we're recognized as a good practice, or a best practice. So kudos to the mobile outreach team, and also kudos to council, because your support is what makes stuff like that happen. So we certainly appreciate that. And then a couple more highlights. Over at the Eastlink Center, we have 2 fitness center workers who have recently attended a life fitness service school training program held in Edmonton, and that'll just help us to better maintain our equipment and also to reduce costs. The training that they've been provided allows them to do the preventative maintenance and to keep the equipment in the best shape possible for our users. So, and to make our facility desirable as well. So. And then with sports development, wellness, and culture, we recently had a meeting where, and this has been talked about a bit in the past, about shifting the major events from sports development, wellness, and culture over to events and entertainment under Chief Harrop's area of responsibility. So that is occurring throughout this year, and the biggest transition will take place in 2024. But so that means primarily the major events will be handled by Catherine Ridgway and her team, supported by other departments as necessary. And a quick update on transit. On the statistics comparing January to April of 2022 to the same period in 2023, we've seen a 28% increase in conventional bus ridership, and accessible ridership is up 29%. So it's good to see the folks back using transit as well, or increasing their usage. That's the update on behalf of Chief Lemieux, unless there's any questions.
I see one from Mayor Clayton, then Councillor Berg.
Thanks, Mr. Miller. I had to think about what you're doing, what capacity you're in today. My apologies. I have a couple questions that I know the answer to, but I'd like them sort of publicly discussed. And if you don't know the details, that's great. I wanted to talk about a couple of things I'm hearing in the community that are of concern. Right now, are people allowed to be burning grass in their yards right now?
I think there is and you're right, I might not know the exact answer, but I think there is a complete fire ban.
Yeah, there is a complete fire ban. So the expectation is that people aren't burning grasses. They're not having firework displays in their yard. Their kids aren't lighting firecrackers, whatever it is in their backyard. There is a complete fire ban in the city. And if people are, don't tell me the specifics, but if you were to have actions that were contrary to fire ban, give me an example of what people can expect if, you know, a neighbor calls the police and says, my neighbor's burning grass. There are fines. What are the expectations that people can?
Yeah, we would certainly take enforcement action. So it could escalate up to the fines. I think what they do is they attend quickly, they deal with the issue, they make sure the hazard is gone, and they explore why it took place and take appropriate action. So it could be up to fines and some costs as well. If there's costs incurred by the city, then I'm sure there is a recovery process as well that we could look at.
Perfect. So, you know, I hate that I have to bring this up, but unfortunately, it's just more of a reminder. Some people they miss our messages. And so more of an awareness point for residents in the city. There is a complete fire ban on right now. I would expect that most people understand why, but just if you don't know, there's an emergency situation on our border and there's a complete fire ban in the city. With that, there also is a ban on drones currently. And so correct me if I'm wrong, it's not that we're protecting, the county is protecting information by prohibiting drones. It's because of the unsafe airspace that drones can create for fire helicopters and choppers. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct, through the chair, of course. But so we really, and we heard that this morning when we went to the briefing, that drones create a hazard for the aircraft, the helicopters, and the airplanes that are trying to fight the fire and extinguish it, to keep our community safe. So hopefully nobody is flying drones. And
we completely understand that people want to see what's happening in not only for their own curiosity, but there's people that live in evacuated zones that want to know their house is okay, and I can understand the curiosity, but we want this fire out as quickly as possible, and drones can prohibit effective work that firefighting is currently doing, including bomber planes and helicopters. So just a reminder to people of why the ban on drones is out there. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bressie. Director Deputy CAO Miller. There's a lot of civic pride from a lot of residents that I'm talking to that we are helping out the county in this, and of course that's our commitment to GPREP. So thanks to all of the firefighters that are involved, plus our city staff. Can you let us know how many units and roughly how many firefighters we have on scene at any given time from the city portion?
Through the chair, thanks for the question. The number has fluctuated, but the most recent numbers is we've asked for help from outside the city boundaries as well. So up to 100 firefighters will be arriving. Yesterday we had 24 arrive from outside, and there's more due. I think overnight more came in, and so we'll have up to 100 additional resources in addition to our city resources and the county resources. It's about 60 that are on the scene at any time, plus the wildfire, forestry firefighters as well. And there is some industry helping us out. We have, I think it's roughly about 50 people that are between the Incident Command Center as well as the Emergency Coordination Center, municipal staff from both municipalities working behind the scenes, supporting the firefighters. So probably at any time there's probably in excess of well, probably close to 150 folks working on this situation.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the information.
Councillor Blackmore.
I'll be very quick, Chair Bresty, as I know I'm not on this committee, but Mr. Miller, when you talk about vehicles for hire and 4 have been, I think you said 4 were taken out of service, we had a number that failed their inspection. What's the process for them to, like, when they fail, do they lose their license, or is their license suspended until they're able to remediate the issues, and how long are they given a time limit for that?
Through the chair, I don't have the exact details on that, but I know if they do fail, they are taken out of service. My understanding is that they are booked for a reinspection, so they have to rectify the situation. So until they do that, they're not allowed to put the vehicles back on the road.
I'm not seeing anybody else with questions, so thank you, Director Miller, and I will turn it over to you to introduce the next topic first, which we've got 2023 grant funding requests.
All right. Thanks, Chair Bressi, and we have Ms. Bieberdorf here today to report on that.
Ms. Bieberdorf.
Good morning. We have 2 grant applications being recommended for approval today. The first one is for the band McKindred, and they're recommended for an individual project in the amount of $1,400. And this project is to record a 6-song full-length album. We did have a second application, but the Community Advisory Committee did not recommend this one as they did not feel it met the requirements. On the Pursuit of Excellence side, we had 1 application for clinic hosting, and that's for the Grande Prairie Tennis Club for $1,000. Tennis Alberta is coming to Alberta to facilitate this course, and it will train local instructors and support development of new tennis coaches. So administration is requesting that committee recommend council approve the motions as outlined in the report.
I see Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bressi. I'll just cut to business and thank the committee for putting these 2 forward. I would like committee to recommend to council 1, the allocation of arts development individual project grant funding for McKindred in the amount of $1,400, and 2, allocation of Pursuit of Excellence clinic hosting grant funding for the Grande Prairie Tennis Club in the amount of $1,000.
Excellent. Any conversation or debate on that? I will call that to question. That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Bieberdorf, for being here. We appreciate it. Next up, we've got an issue of correspondence that requires us to go in camera. So I'm wondering if Councillor O'Connor to go in camera. Any conversation, debate? Not seeing any. Let's call that to question. That motion carries, so we will go in camera. get situated. All right, so oh, there he is. All right, I'll just look around the room. Are we good to start? Great, I'll call us back into meeting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. Council did receive a letter from Grand Spirit regarding the Smith lands, and Councillor O'Connor, I believe you have a motion to receive that for information.
Yes, I'd like to move that committee receive the correspondence for information.
Excellent. All in favor?
Mayor Clayton in favor.
That motion carries, and that brings us to our outstanding items list. Mr. Miller.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. So I haven't had a chance to speak to Mr. Lemieux, but I trust everything is on track. If we can just go with that for this morning, please.
Excellent. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. Mr. Miller, when appropriate, could you confirm that item 1200, the Grande Prairie Curling Club Center, is actually still on target? It's indicated for Q2, so I'm hoping to see it soon. And if not, can you just get us an update? That'd be great. Thanks.
And through the chair, I can comment on that one. I know he has been actively engaged in conversations, so we hope to bring that back soon.
Thank you.
Are you willing to make the motion?
Sure. So moved.
All in. Councillor O'Connor was all right. All in favor? I think Councillor O'Connor was hoping to get on the scoreboard one last time.
Sorry, Councillor O'Connor.
Councillor Bressie's in favor.
Councillor Berg in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
And that motion carries. And with that, I will call our meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for the meeting today.